baby. Boom, there we are.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Alternative Wednesday show. My name is Alan Simonton, and I do not have my lovely co-host, Michelle Ozimi, because she's attending to her Dallas Women's Council of Realtors leadership
Duty
retreat
calls
today. Yeah, so I went ahead and asked a special guest to come in. I don't know if you know him. But he is the purveyor, the producer, the man who runs the show at a little place called StudioUSA here in Dallas, Plano, Dallas.
Yes, in the DFW Metro.
In the DFW Metroplex. It is Rick Davis, ladies and gentlemen.
Greetings, all.
The Rick Davis.
I will be the not Michelle player for the day.
Yeah, so our content is it might be a little heavy, might not be, but we want to just come in today and we want to say Merry Christmas.
Yes.
It's a holiday season. Do-dee-doo and da-ba-dee-da. That's the song, how it goes. I already tried singing that one. I can't remember the lyrics. But we wanted to just encourage you guys through this holiday season to keep your head up. Keep your focus on. And we want to talk a little bit, or I would like to talk a little bit about sobriety. Whoa.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. Dun, dun, dun.
Which in real estate isn't exactly, the order of the day. During the holidays.
Really, I want to focus on those of you who are in recovery or you've decided to have your last drink.
Or you're contemplating.
If it's a thought.
Yeah.
And if someone has told you.
and those are two different things. Usually.
Two different things.
And one of the long-standing jokes in recovery is, normal people don't ever wonder if they have a drinking problem. That's not a question that normal folks ask themselves.
Interesting. That's really good. Man, you were already spitting the gold. Rick has about 20 years. 21 years.
Yeah.
Boom, just hit that.
Yes, last month.
Experience in sobriety, and he's told me some crazy stories. Y'all probably understand if you have some crazy stories. I don't have as many crazy stories, but I'm also a sober person.
Yes, sir.
By choice. It has to be by choice. But I've had 10 years of sobriety, a relapse, and then now another 5, almost 6 years.
Right on. Okay.
Right? So
I didn't know that the previous sojourn through sobriety had been that long.
Yeah, it really was.
Okay.
It was that long.
I was a chronic relapser for 16 years, give or take. I was actually introduced by the state of Texas to the thought of getting sober at the age of 20. And
you're going to need to get this paper signed at every AA meeting.
Bro. And, that was one of those things where that was the last place on earth I would have volunteered to go. And
okay.
It was in case anybody wonders, recovery is a gigantic buzzkill if you don't want to be there. And
seriously,
being forced to do it is, I suppose it serves a purpose in that the seed is planted or that you know that it exists. Other than that, hated it. And I just used it as not quite the get out of jail free card, but I would say get out of jail at a discount card, because it
wasn't an actual thing that you were committed to. It was like, this is just something I got to get done.
Oh no, this was the thing that the state of Texas said, you need to go to this, or we're going to bring the full weight and depth of everything that you have pending on you now. Wow. The get out of jail at a reduced rate is whenever the state of Texas sends you to the thing.
To meetings. And
no. I went to, so I was 20 years old and I had one DWI pending and I got arrested for a second one.
Oh, man.
And so I wasn't even 21 yet and I already had 2 on the board.
And that wasn't rock bottom.
Oh, hell no. Oh, my God, no.
Yeah, right?
No.
Right?
That's open mic night. That's nothing.
That's just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, probably not. That's somewhere in the middle.
I would say that's probably like first quarter. It's like, okay, like you took the...
It's the prologue.
Wasn't necessarily the opening drive going down to score, but it was definitely mid-first quarter, maybe your third possession. And and you got some points on the board. But yeah, I was forced under duress to go to the halfway house. Because back in the 80s,
oh my gosh,
in DFW,
I remember that.
It seemed like the soup du jour was always some sort of rehab, some sort of, there was the hospital that did aversion therapy, and there was all this other crazy shit going on. And so back then it was like, oh, if you got in trouble for X being some sort of illegal substance or mind altering thing,
Sure.
they would send you to rehab.
Well, I didn't have any experience going to those halfway houses, but I did, I knew people that had been. And to me, a lot of times those were just places to explore new substances.
Yes. Well,
I can't drink, but I can do that.
Well, when I was at the actual state-sponsored facility in Fort Worth, which was interesting because the Polytechnic District in Fort Worth in the 1930s was like the Art Deco zoot suit.
Oh yeah, there's they're off of the main road there, the main strip.
I would remember it if I was there.
It's where like Joe T. Garcia's or whatever it is.
Yes, absolutely. Because I can remember. So one of the things that they would give us.
That's where my counselor was.
Okay.
And that's how I got sober.
Right on. All right. So it's in the water over there now.
It is
in the late 80s.
In an Art Deco mid-century building.
Yes, which I loved that neighborhood, but it was weird because it fell off a cliff from the 30s to the 80s, and so everything had bars in the windows, and it was just crazy. And we had to travel in a pack to go to the convenience store. They wouldn't let us leave by ourselves,
right?
And it was an interesting introduction to the world of recovery, which turns out had very little to do with actual recovery, other than the state says you have to be here. They pay us to give you AA pamphlets and stuff, and and government cheese and whatever else.
You get a stipend of government cheese and crackers.
Yes, and
generic cereal.
Yeah, the little boxes. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit. That's like my I guess addiction or habit or whatever you want to call it came from just a place of I think mental health, not wanting to feel my feelings, and just sort of
I always tell people it's funny,
numbing in a way, and for me I wasn't a social drinker, especially when I wasn't supposed to be drinking.
Yeah,
it was always on
that does
own.
Run counter to socializing. Whenever it
wasn't a social thing. It was a blind just going into it and not caring about the consequences.
Oh my, yes. Right? So it's funny too because I never really think about this stuff to talk in this context. But I can remember, I don't know, whenever it was, like say 11 or 12, the first time that I would have probably been like legally intoxicated or had felt the actual effects of it.
A lot of people out there can relate.
That, and I say it now in my little recovery universe. It's like, I don't know what the question was, but that was the answer. And
come on,
I gave zero shits about anything other than that feeling. And that to me now, I look back at it and there's a genetic component to that.
Absolutely.
To where if you have what they would call the genetic predisposition for that thing and your XY axis of circumstance and opportunity actually line up, forget about it.
Yeah.
It is no holds barred. And I literally turn into a different person.
Sure.
In that moment, like within a couple of hours. I always used to say that 2 p.m. I'm getting the key to the city, and by 11 I don't give a shit about it, and I'm burning it down. You start off. It's such a good place, and that's why one drink is never one drink, right? No.
So we're kind of guys that would finish the bottle and then go look for another, and then finish that one, and then go get a 6-pack, and then go get some whiskey. And
I never
till you pass out.
Yeah, I never had moderation, and I never cared about moderation. And even though I was raised in a semi-religious or depending on who I was staying with, the religious background, I just checked. I was like, whatever, dude.
Seriously.
It's like, while y'all are doing that over there, I'm going to sneak out back and either get high or buzz or whatever. And it just never even occurred to me that it wasn't the right thing to do. I just didn't care.
I've got some core holiday sobriety themes, tips, tricks. Something that I learned that completely changed, because I'm not going to say AA doesn't work, but it wasn't quite exactly what I needed.
There's
fantastic
no monopoly.
Book that I got called When AA Doesn't Work. And
Interesting.
And it worked.
Okay, now
this
I'm
book.
curious about that.
Yes.
Because, while I am certainly not the poster child for recovery or any sort of
It dealt a
12-step
lot with the mental side of things, the black and white thinking and the agitation and the irritability
Which is
and those kinds of
interesting
things.
because given your background of faith-based
Mm-hmm.
everything, and that kind of being, at the very least,
I mean, it's based, the AA book's based on the book of James, right?
yeah, there was the
that's what it started
there
out
was the
as.
Oxford group, there was the James gang, there were the different sort of religiously affiliated.
Sure. The higher
programs.
power comes
Well,
into
there were the
it
religiously affiliated programs that came before AA that they kind of like borrowed the best bits of, but back then, and I'm paraphrasing all of this, and I would say that there's a greater than zero chance I'm totally full of shit on everything that I'm thinking of as historical.
But you're so sober.
There is that.
We don't.
That part. That part is true. But there were all the things that any good garden variety alcoholic is going to rail against. Where it's like, you got to go to this church, you got to believe this thing, you got to do this, you got to do whatever.
Can't tell me what to do.
Right. And it's like, yeah, okay. And it's like, wait, the option is to do all of that bullshit or drink myself to death? I'll be over here drinking.
Yeah. What really locked it in for me was when I had a great counselor, personified alcohol. He said, and that's kind of why when people ask me, hey, you want to drink? I'm like, no, it doesn't agree with me. And I'll hold my stomach, but what I'm actually saying is alcohol literally does not agree with me. Like, because I say I want to stay sober, alcohol never tells me no.
No. Oh my God.
Never
I was
tells
a
me
chronic
no,
relapser
never
too.
tells me no, and it's there, available. And so that for me was like, oh, well, you know what? It doesn't agree with me, and this is who I want to be, so you can stay over there.
Yeah, and at some point in time, I was a chronic relapser for like 16 years, and there was an element there. Well, if I knew if I knew now what I knew then, I would.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, you don't make the same
You don't
bullshit
know.
mistakes. You make a bunch of new ones, and it came to a point in time where, regardless of what I thought, what I did,
Mm-hmm.
or what I intended, I always ended up back at the same place.
Right.
And it was always this bullshit universe of my own making. And I was an isolated drinker. It's like,
I hear you.
and then the other
Yeah.
thing was like the one true love of my life is prescription drugs. And it's like, because I joke about it, and but it is at least half true, where somebody's talking about like, oh, my soulmate, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh yeah, I had a soulmate once. It was opiates. And it turns out,
It's hydrocodone.
yeah, it turns out that if that is the love of your life, it is not going to end well.
Wait, so you're not saying that's a good relationship, good healthy relationship?
No, it was like
Not the way you were approaching it?
It was very toxic and abusive relationship.
It never told you no.
No, and
It was always there for you, Rick.
yes, and then
No, that's
if
bad.
and the thing is, like, you never age out of it. If anything, you age into the darkening of
Yeah.
the whole thing, which then manifests in like physical addiction. Because it's like, I don't give a shit who you are. There's no human being out there alive that has ever done opiates for 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, or say
Beyond.
36 months and did not get physically addicted.
Because that's what it's made. That's how
what
it's
it
made
does.
to your
It's like the
body.
Terminator. That's what it does. That's all it does. And that's a whole different level of. It's like playing life on like the extremely difficult level, and then you add something to it that you can't even get to normal without. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't get high anymore. I don't feel good anymore. I just don't feel sick. And
Yeah.
and then
You
that
get-
also
you
morphed
get through
into
that.
Well, then I also morphed into maintenance drinking, which
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna mention that. Yeah, go ahead.
I think this is my this is my belief based on my lived experience, is that the opiates accelerated the genetic component of the alcohol addiction, for lack of a better term. But physically addicted to alcohol is the worst. I've been physically addicted to a bunch of things. Alcohol is absolutely, bar none, the worst. And made even worse and compounded by the fact that 7-Eleven never runs out.
They never run out. So something else that was a great tip for me in staying sober was do not drive by old haunts.
Yes.
So that liquor store that I always went to, went a different way, or that bar or whatever it was drove a different way.
Yeah, because you get to the place where your habits kind of put an autopilot.
Yes,
on your
and
car.
it's something that is still that it's not an intrusive thought of like, hey, you need to pull in there and get a bottle. It's
Yeah.
like
I used to go there.
like I'm aware that you're there, and I've got a place to be.
And so for many years, I would be, so, here in Texas, they start selling at 7 a.m. at the convenience
They
stores.
do?
And so
I don't even know anymore.
I would be so I lived for many years over by the Galleria, and it was a dry area, Spring Valley and Montfort. Well, in Addison on Inwood, for decades, it was basically like Murderer's Row of it was convenience store, liquor store, convenience store, liquor store. So, and as any good alcoholic will tell you, you don't go to the same store every day. You alternate. So, so they don't think ill of you. So they do.
Yeah.
Even though I'm putting that guy's kid through college.
Yeah, and maybe that one guy gives you a discount every now and then.
They never did. And they never sold before 7 a.m. That used to piss me off. I'm like tapping at the glass at like 6:55. Come on, bro. Come on.
And I know that some of you guys can relate to that, and that's okay, man. It is okay. If that's where you're starting, then you've got plenty of room to succeed.
You get in that strata of life, and those were my people. Like I would see the same people in the parking lot every morning.
And that was one thing that got me for a time. I thought, man, I really like the going into bar, sitting and talking with all the people and the social part of it. And then I realized these people aren't my friends. No. I don't know them outside of this. I don't need to know them anymore.
No. And for good or ill, I was also a constant weed smoker. So turns out most watering holes frown on you getting high at the bar. And so,
at the bar.
Yeah. So as a result, I didn't drink in bars because there were certain things that were just
in the
necessary.
parking lot.
Yeah, well, and even then, it was like I just didn't do it. And also, too, at some point for me, alcohol became an X factor, meaning like I couldn't tell you what was going to happen. And I would have the best of intentions, and it's like, oh, I'm going to go and hang out or whatever, and then I'm going to come home and, have a relaxing night at home with just a few beers.
That's not the way it works.
By 9 p.m., that's what I intended at 7, and by like 9 or 9:30, the lights are on, nobody's home, I'm blacked out, and then I get to find out what I did the next morning.
Yeah, so actually I've got here, when loneliness is the real temptation. Addressing the quiet moments between events where cravings often show up. And for me, learning why, so I've got the craving. I'm sitting here, the intrusive thought has come in, man, wouldn't life be better with a drink right now? But I've gotten to a point where I look back and say, okay, why am I agitated, irritable, uncomfortable? Where did it start that why am I wanting to drink now? Well, I didn't do this part of my job. I didn't spend this time with my kids.
There's an element of what am I trying to avoid or escape?
It didn't just happen.
Right.
And that was revolutionary to me. It's not just an impulse.
Yeah. There's the weird out of left field thought where, and it doesn't happen very often now, but I know in early sobriety, had I gone to, basically into the lion's den on a regular basis, it would have happened and it would have gotten me.
Yeah.
There's a certain element of this just in, alcoholics drink. And if you actually have an alcoholic problem, yes, and if you actually have an alcohol problem, you're probably going to die drunk. That's statistically how it goes. It's like womp womp. Sorry, but that is the actual truth of the matter. And now beyond that, it just so happens that in the 21st century, there's a shitload of stuff that you can do. And now sobriety is not this weird outlier.
There's so many people since COVID that have gotten sober. I remember at our apartment building during COVID, in the trash room, there would be stacks and stacks of bottles of wine, and empty bottles of wine and liquor and all this. And what we're seeing, most places now have mocktails.
Oh yeah,
things
it's
like
now
that.
Become.
So what about like boundaries? For you, like whenever you're going to someplace that's going to have booze. Maybe when you were closer to your recovery.
Back then, I would either, I would always say, unless it's necessary. This is a thing that most people don't or can't wrap their head around early on, where it's like you're not required. to do anything as far as any kind of social, because a lot of people get hung up on what are people going to say? What do I say when they ask me about having a drink or whatever? And it's like, dude, nobody gives a shit.
No, and that's why I say it doesn't agree with me.
There you go.
Because then it sounds like he gets heartburn.
Yeah, right. Like he's got reflux. And
it's worse than that, guys.
Yeah, but if that lessens the self-consciousness or the anxiety about it or whatever, then do it. Lean into it.
Yeah. So there, you can identify. When you're going into prepare.
Yeah, I always say swim with a buddy, or have an easy one to do is have somebody, like if you are in, I would say, the odds of getting sober and staying sober on your own are slim to none.
Practical scripts for saying no. Here's another little tip.
Oh, okay, okay.
Leave early.
Yes. Drive yourself.
Yes.
And then always have a get out of jail card handy. Like you can text somebody and say, like, dude, call me right now.
Yes.
And then you get a call like, oh, hey, dude, I got to take this call. And then the thing is, this was also in early networking, which also coincided with, I was probably like maybe 6 or 7 years sober. I would go, and I didn't know anybody from Adam anyhow. So it wasn't like somebody would be like, where'd you go? Or what were you doing? But I would go.
Which actually, that would give you more opportunity to drink, I think, if you didn't know anybody.
Oh, yeah. Then the accountability's out the window.
Exactly.
Because now if I went somewhere and people saw me drinking, they'd be like, what the, yeah.
Oh, man.
But I used to go
I'd
take
drag
photos.
You out by your ponytail.
Well, thank you. Likewise. Or your beard.
Yeah, beard. Yeah, do that.
But back in the day, I would go take photos, tag myself and whoever I actually knew in Facebook, and then leave. Because retroactively,
Smart.
You have proof that you were there, but nobody knows, nobody tracks. Like, dude, you were only there for 11 minutes. That doesn't count as networking. Nobody cares, But over time, all of that builds up, and then you also doing the reps, building the muscle of I could be in a spot. But like yesterday, I went to affiliate party and the far north after.
A lot of holiday parties with mimosas and booze and stuff like that.
And realtors drink.
And that's great. I love that people can. I'm so, I don't know if it's jealous, but I'm just enamored with people who can have a glass of wine.
Oh, I still am fascinated.
Isn't it crazy?
I'm fascinated by that. And then I'm also fascinated by the ones that had rules. So like one of the guys in my little,
is that like liquor before beer?
Well,
or beer before liquor, or is that different?
Like I know one guy that literally would not drink before 11 a.m. because that was just some sort of fast, hard and fast rule that he had in his head. So he would literally put himself through the meat grinder with the shakes and throwing up or whatever. Sometimes go to the bar and literally have to have them push the drink to him.
No,
in it with a straw, so he could like start to calm down. And I'm like, so that wasn't a giveaway and then my thought now is like, wow, so you waited till 11. It's like, wow, you missed out on a lot of good drinking.
It's the deferred maintenance thing that we see like in houses, like just let that go.
Right.
What can I live with for as long as possible?
And it turns out
till it falls
humans
apart.
Can live like, I don't know about anybody else, but I could take an ass whipping. That was what it was when it came to like just all the physical stuff and the it's like.
Can you imagine now what your body would feel like the next day? It'd take you 4 days to recover.
It would probably kill me, and I would have so much.
Same.
I would have so much.
I don't even want to think about it.
Necessary, like so many things would have to line up for me to consider it. I would literally have to have. I was always fascinated with Elvis and Michael Jackson and the ones that got to such a level of just control of their domain. Now, obviously, it killed both of them, but that was my aspirational. Where it would be like, because Elvis had his doctor that would give his guys.
What was his name?
Dr. Nick, I think. I think that was his sort of like name in the clubhouse. But he would have packets. There would be like the morning packet that his bodyguards would give him, and so it was like blast off, level out,
and then crash.
Yeah,
take the downers.
And then there would come the knockout blow at whatever 11
that
o'clock.
makes my heart hurt. Just thinking about.
There's a part of me that was
not the emotional part, but literally the heart hurt.
Obviously, it would kill you deader than a mackerel over time, but
deader than a mackerel.
That was something that I would have aspired to. And the idea of like, he's a maintenance drink, or I was a high functioning alcoholic, and it's like I don't really know if there is such a thing, but maybe,
Yeah.
And now it never really enters my mind, and unless there's something like this, because this is probably the most I've talked about any of that stuff outside of my little, insulated cadre.
Well,
of,
and I
guys.
appreciate you coming on and talking through this, because it's really important to me that if we really, really want you to pursue your sobriety, if that's something that you want to do or thinking about, it can be done.
Yes.
If you want to show up for your family, for your friends, for yourself, more importantly, for yourself, and be the best you can possibly be, put some boundaries this holiday season. If you're going to a family party, what would you do, Rick, if you come across and if there is that person, they're like, oh, come on, man, just have another one. Just have a drink. Have a drink. Everybody else is drinking.
I haven't had anybody actually
pressure you like that, but I know that there's families out there and people out there that do that.
Aside from somebody offering, which ironically, back when I drank, around the clock, nobody offered me shit. It was
because you already had it,
or it was couldn't I have some free drinks? Because even like when I came into the networking world of real estate, like say, I don't know, whatever, 13 or 14 years ago,
gonna get your drink tickets.
Well, back then at the tree pack events, it used to be if you paid your fair share, which I think was $35 back then, it was open bar, at least for a few years.
Oh, dear.
And
until things got out of control.
And I was like, oh my God, if somebody would have given me the opportunity for $35, all you can drink. Because, I was a child of the 80s, and back then,
$35, that was a lot.
Oh, well,
I was a child of the 90s.
I was a child
80s,
of the 80s.
90s.
And so like in the late 80s, when I would go to Deep Ellum, or we would go to like the basement, or, Greenville
Lots
Avenue.
of old haunts in
but back then, when I moved to Dallas proper in like 89, 90, all up and down Greenville Avenue, there was no limit. Like you could have, it would be any coin night, or it would be
right. I remember that. Yes.
25-cent well drinks, or the basement used
nickel
to have
beers.
Yeah, the basement used to have free beer 4 or 5 nights a week, and I lived right around the corner. And so that was absolutely a force multiplier for him. And of course, I've kind of always looked like this and behaved like this, but exponentially more insane. So I just fit right in.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So now I don't really have a problem with anybody pressure. There's no such thing.
There's no pressure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. So maybe that mindset of,
well, and the truth
no
is,
matter what, I'm going to say no. And if people are doing that, they're not people you need to be around.
Well, they're trying to bring you down to their level, because that's one of the things that happens.
Say that again. They're trying to get you to their level.
Because if you actually, water seeks its own level. And so I hung out with a bunch of guys that were just like me. Because guys that behave just like me aren't going to be critical. And so then
they're going to be helpful.
Yeah. Yes. Or sometimes you have to, they'll steal your weed and help you look for it, but hey.
Steal your weed and help you look for it. I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I may or may not have done that once or twice.
The same.
But when the flip side happens and you are now, I went from being the example of how not to do it to the example of like, oh, wow, you actually can change. And when that happens, all of a sudden now you throw them in stark relief, where if I'm not falling down drunk or whatever, and you are, well, now you're going to be profoundly, because I firmly believe that anybody out there that has an alcohol problem legitimately, they are well aware. Yeah. It is like, because it is not something that sneaks up on you and hits you over the head. That shit is the installment plan that one day you wake up and it's like, oh, this sucks. And this is
Rick
work. This takes effort. And to get beyond that in and of itself is an achievement, and the idea that somebody would feel self-conscious about you being different, it's like, that's human nature. And that you can expect that is going to happen. And then at the end of the day, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
so don't feel that pressure.
Oh,
and if it is there, maybe avoid that situation this season if it's something that you're just stepping into, sobriety, or one day at a time still counts on Christmas.
Absolutely,
100%. In fact, it's for me it was 1/2 hour to 1 hour at a time,
and over time
it was so tough.
Doing the reps, it builds up, and the things that give you anxiety now or whatever, you won't give a shit about in 3 years.
I would kill a bottle of Bailey's Irish Cream on Christmas Eve. Kill it. Just on the rocks, like chocolate milk.
Wow. I don't even know if I've ever, not that I wouldn't
just
have.
Sugar and caffeine and
Good Lord.
and whiskey. I know, right? And then how dumb is that?
Yeah, and I'm out there drinking Steel Reserve and just, which is like, it's like paint thinner, but beer flavored.
If you're drinking those things, guys, there's better stuff out there. Get you a nice cup of coffee.
Oh, it always starts out like with Lowenbrow or the imports, and then
non-alcoholic beer. Stay away from that. That's not a real thing. Mocktails, though, that's pretty cool, though.
The part of me there is like, I don't know if I'm trying to pretend like I'm whatever. That's a fool's errand,
It really is.
First off, I didn't like mixed drinks anyhow. Who gives a shit? I have somewhere to be.
I liked whiskey and Coke or Sprite.
I would like
Bud and Jack were my two best.
I would
friends.
like a giant pull off of bottle X, and then maybe like a sip of Diet Coke, just to just
You're
to
hardcore,
reset.
dude.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was like I had 2 gas pedals, no brakes. And
that's how it works, right?
There's always the joke of the angel and the devil on your shoulder. I had two
You
devils.
had 2 devils?
I had 2 devils, and I'd agreed with them every time.
And one was just up in the other.
Yeah, and it was like,
hey,
oh,
what
really?
if we did this?
Yeah, hey, throw some of that on there.
That seems pretty easy. Why don't you do this?
Yes, and so that's how you end up, going to Green Oaks, high single digits.
Green Oaks.
Oh yeah. I'll just like one of the darker elements was when you get into that, when you're really committed to that life, sometimes you go to detox just so it works when you get out.
I encourage you to do that. I never. No. So mine.
I don't encourage you to do that.
Hold on.
I would go to detox so it would be more cost effective.
I see.
When I got back out, I had no intentions on being sober.
Got you. Understood.
So yes, that I don't.
No one's going to force you into sobriety unless it's the Texas government.
Yes, and even there, that has a shelf life.
It has a shelf life.
If you play if you play the game right, you will get out of trouble.
If you see it as a punishment, then it is in a way, but it's also accountability.
Well, and the truth is, the state of Texas and Uncle Sam or whomever, they do that because they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing more illogical than the drug addict or alcoholic, where it's like, oh, wow, you have this empirical evidence of you are throwing your life in this shitter on a daily basis, and you won't stop. And the state of Texas has no idea what to do with that at scale. So it's like,
I know.
Put them on probation and make them get their paper signed.
Let's talk about hope and forward looking to end this up. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what would it look like waking up January 1st, with sobriety, clear head, and not recovering from a hangover, from a New Year's hangover? What would that, how good would that feel?
That is one, so I woke up basically in a state of toxic shock every day for years, and you just keep going. It's a weird thing to come into the realm of sobriety where, because if you I always joke about a lot of this stuff, partly because it's a fucking tragedy otherwise. But it's like, wow, if you effed your life up bad enough that you need AA, then you should probably listen to some advice, Yeah. And it's like one of those things where,
and by the way, if you need AA, it's not a bad thing.
Oh, I go multiple times a week.
You're talking about your perspective of back in the day when you were made to go.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, it's like
I just don't want to discourage anyone from going to AA.
No, I would say go immediately. And I
promise you, it's weird. But everybody else is weird about it too.
But
you're going to find somebody. My guy was Tom, and Tom would listen to me. He wasn't necessarily an accountability partner, but he would listen. So you're going to find a person.
Well, yeah. The truth is, if your life is jacked up to the point where
else has been there.
AA is a good idea, or AA even seems reasonable, okay, well then that's a giant red flag right there as far as living that life has an expiration date. Unless you course correct. And the thing is, when you go into the thing that AA would give anybody is perspective, where you can go in, sit, and listen.
I found my big book, by the way, the other day. I was looking for some books and I found it and started reading through it again. I was like, this is so applicable. It was more the stories of the people and their recovery.
And that's where I was going with that, where it's like, regardless of the framework of the program, it may or may not resonate with you. Who cares? Because if you're literally living an alcoholic life that has an expiration date, and there are no successful people that drink alcoholically, long term and live happily ever after or satisfied lives.
My counselor said this. I don't care what it is. I'm only interested in what works.
There you go. It's like the whole business.
What works
thing.
for you?
Hey, whatever method of your business.
Yeah.
Like what is your favorite CRM? Whatever the one is you're going to use. And so
Michelle just taught us that.
Yes, I actually saw that on her Facebook post. But the idea of do something, try everything. But the thing you would get, one thing that I would say that AA would have over anything else is literal brick and mortar places that you can go and hear what people sound like in recovery.
Yeah.
And early sobriety is weird and it sucks.
Yeah, and I would say if you have a spouse who doesn't have that, so Michelle and I have been together so long, so she's lived through this with me, having those conversations, even though maybe you've been having like, I'm not going to drink, and then you go drink. Finally, when you get to that place, just be honest and real, even though it might feel embarrassing. That was kind of the shame and embarrassment was something I felt, but honestly, the product of being sober is so much more rewarding than those little feelings in the beginning.
Yeah, and a lot of people, historically, it's been looked at like it's a moral failing or it's a weak willpower or whatever.
Sure.
And it's like what people don't realize is like, wow, dude, to stay jacked up and be fucked up like 24 hours a day, that you are putting in work. That is some industrious behavior.
Yeah.
And the idea that if somebody, and again, this is for the folks that actually do have a drinking problem or actually have the fear. And again, like I said, there's no real card-carrying alcoholic out there right now, with his tumbler with
he's already
orange
got his
juice and vodka.
Yep.
Yeah. That guy is not under any illusion of what he's doing. It's just that you can't say it out loud because that makes it real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, then cool. Mazel tov. Drink yourself
Mazel
to death.
tov.
Like knock yourself out.
It's your choice.
Well, and
really
one of the things that I always tell everybody that I encounter in recovery, it's like, dude, I don't give a shit about your recovery until you give a shit about your recovery.
There it is. Yeah. Do you care about your recovery?
Right. And
that just made me think a little bit.
Bam! Well,
I care about my recovery. I have, since being sober, I have created a intensely fantastic real estate brand with my wife. I've also stepped into my passion for being an artist and a painter. I would not be able to do that if I wasn't sober. I thought that I could, and it completely derailed.
Yeah, that is the inner, probably the inner alcoholic self.
But you can't see it right now if you're in that haze.
Yeah, and so the first thing there is like just, literally start Googling or ask AI or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, send me a message. Because I'm always curious about people's perception of recovery or sobriety or whatever. But then again, on the flip side,
I would love a message too if you want to message me on Facebook or text or whatever.
I don't care what people think about recovery. And it's like, I do what I do. And of course, it goes without saying that nothing I have now or where we're sitting or whatever, the me that was strung out in, 2000 or 1990, or woke up on a ventilator in 1998.
Oh my gosh. That's right. Yeah, you told me, man, you were so close.
It's like, when I say I could take an ass kicking, and I'd volunteer. That's the worst part.
Yeah,
it's like
you signed up for it.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, none of where we are now or where I am now is even remotely. I'd already been, because the thing was, I was never suicidal. I just didn't care if I woke up. It was like a very non-committal kind of thing. It was like, it wasn't like, I want to kill myself. No, it was like,
I want to drink.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just getting booked up. It's like I don't really care. And that was the thing. It was like this apathy that just permeated everything. And now it's not there. But the thing is, I would be lying if I said that it couldn't come back. And I often joke with people that are coming in like, dude, I've been X, Y, and Z for however long, but like I could wake up next Thursday and literally burn all of this to the ground.
It's what I call the consistent vigilance. Be vigilant. once you get to a good place, be vigilant of your surroundings. You don't owe anyone a drink. Your peace is better than approval. You start thinking through these things. Okay, leaving early from parties, and this day actually counts. This day, and no one can take it away from you. That's
and
one
there's safety in
sober day.
numbers.
No one can take. Yeah, safety in numbers. So practical thing. Something I've was helpful to me. There's actually an app that you can download that gives you all of the AA meetings within your area.
Oh yeah. So like,
what's it called again?
This is one that I never really look at too often.
Here's another one that I have.
But so like
12 steps. Yeah.
Yeah, 12 steps. And I have actually been sober for 7,707 days.
Oh, that's so good.
That's
Hold on, I'm gonna pull them up.
184,953 hours. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
But the funny thing is, it's like I said, I could actually wake up next Thursday and not give a shit about whatever and burn it all down. And it would go away probably within about 18 months.
I'm trying to.
That'd be about the runway that I would have.
So I use an app. It's just called Days, Days. And this is all it shows you is your 5 years, 7 months, 1 week, 2,047 days total.
On.
This has been going and counting. So that's it's called Days, I think.
That's a nice, simple interface.
Right?
I've got the one that's attached to all the literature and shit that I don't read.
And that's the thing that's why I got the book when AA doesn't work. But I still, in my calendar, if you look, I still have on Sundays. So there was a group, a Zoom group that I was part of called Happy Hour.
There's a couple
Saturdays.
of those.
Yeah, and so it's still in my calendar. I don't go to the meeting, but it's a reminder. Every Sunday it pops up Saturday 1 to 2, which how many of you would start drinking on Saturday, maybe around that time? I know a little before, but anyways.
If I'm up,
it gives me accountability.
I'm at it.
Yeah. And then every now and then I have one that's Smart Recovery is another brand.
Yeah, I'm tangentially aware.
I just know that there's more options.
Oh yes, there
there's
absolutely
plenty of options.
Yeah, there absolutely is.
Don't try them all, but do what works.
Try them all. Because at the end of the day,
I
said, nobody cares about whether or not you drink. Aside from like the immediate family
that are
impacted by it,
husband,
but even there, I didn't give a shit about that.
Well, we give a shit about you.
There you go.
I can't believe I just cussed. She got me to say the S word.
I bring that out.
Well, we want to finish up just by saying we love you. And one day at a time.
I'm very fond of you.
And
let's not go so.
I'm sorry for his. He's a little rough around the edges, but I love you and you love me, and we're one big happy family. We want to say thank you so much. Thank you, Rick, for being a part of. This is a bit of an intense, I know, a heavy podcast, but I felt like it was needed because. This is accountability for you and I.
Go. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So now you guys know if you see us with a drink in our hand to smack us in the head.
That is true. Yes.
You won't find that, but just want to say that. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
Michelle and I.
Yeah, you'll be back to normal.
Except for without a name still. We're still your alternative Wednesday podcast. I'm Alan Simonton. Rick Davis.
We're out.
Cheers.